Today, we're going to Calabria in southern Italy, where the famous San Marzano tomatoes are grown. And then, inspired by these incredibly sweet tomatoes, we'll make spaghetti and meatballs topped with a big spoonful of creamy ricotta cheese. And I'll also show you how to make homemade spaghetti. I love to travel the globe in search of new food and wine discoveries. For me, it's about more than returning home with a handful of new recipes. It's about taking the spirit of Austria, of Italy, of Greece, and of the Danube River, and injecting some of their magic into our everyday lives. Food has a unique ability to transport us. Join me as we discover new plates and places on our culinary journey together.
Joanne Weir's Plates and Places is brought to you by...
With AMA Waterways, guests can climb, pedal, and journey beyond the beaten path while cruising on storied rivers across Europe. You can find out more at amawaterways.com.
Our winemaking is the result of teamwork and patience. Working together, we dedicate our best efforts with every vine, grape, and bottle. Washington Vintners.
Since 1899, my family shared our passion for everything that goes into our Mutti 100% Italian tomatoes. Only tomatoes, only Mutti.
Start something delicious. California figs from Valley Fig Growers.
When I visited Italy, I spent a lot of time near Parma, where much of the food is grown. But we couldn't leave without heading south to the toe of the boot to see where some of the most famous tomatoes in the world are grown. I'm here with Gianluigi Di Leo, and I'm in southern Italy. And honestly, I'm so excited because in the U.S., we hear all the time about San Marzano tomatoes. And this is amazing for me to see because I thought, like other tomatoes, they grew close to the ground.
Yes.
So what's this about?
This is typical for San Marzano, because San Marzano going up the wire for going up and more clean, and also for the maturation. You're going to red from green.
So you start picking from the bottom.
Yes.
The ones on the bottom get red first.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I think San Marzano, we hear so much about them in the United States, and they're so special, but it's the growing, right? It's the area where you're growing them. I mean, look at how beautiful this is. What makes this area so great for growing San Marzano tomatoes?
The field is different because we found on this field of volcanic area, origin from volcano is very near to us. So it's rich of potassium, phosphorus, and calcium. And also for the sun, for the near of the sea, the influence of the sea.
How far are we from the sea?
Until 10 kilometers.
10 kilometers. That's close. Wow.
It's very close.
I think I need to go for a swim. It's pretty hot out here.
And we have another thing, that the water under the field is very near, so it's rich of water too.
Wow. And so what volcano?
What volcano? Vesuvio.
Vesuvio. I thought it was Vesuvio. Yes. I visited there many years ago. It's incredible. How far is that from here?
20 kilometers.
20? Oh, close.
It's very close.
Wow.
Close to sea, close to Volcano Vesuvio, close to Naples.
Yeah, you're close to everything.
All around.
So I really want to taste one. And what I find really interesting with the San Marzano, I'm going to grab this one because I see it's beautiful and red, is this little tip on the top.
It's typical of San Marzano.
Yes.
Also, the characteristic of San Marzano is this, the tip pronounced on the side, and like a pyramid, we know pyramid, Egypt pyramid, on triangle.
Okay.
So if you knife the San Marzano, you see the...
Okay, this one has 3, right?
Yeah, 3.
It's 3. But sometimes they have 2?
2 or 3.
Okay.
Never 4.
Never more. Never 4.
Yes.
So what that means is there's less seeds, right?
Yes, less seeds, because it all if you look, just a few seeds.
Right.
And it is also in only this, how we call... flesh.
The flesh.
Yes.
There's a lot of flesh to this.
A lot of flesh, yes.
Wow.
A lot of flesh, if you see.
Yes. Wow.
Few
I liked it. This is delicious, actually.
Mm.
The gel of the tomato has such good flavor.
Very few seeds.
Right.
And the
So what you're
pulpa.
saying is it's got 2 canals.
Yes, 2
where
canals.
some tomatoes have 4, don't
Yes,
they?
because it's the difference between a whole peeled tomato Roma and the San Marzano.
Where can they grow here? I mean, how many different villages can grow San Marzano?
41.
41?
41, yes, in this area.
Is there a town called San Marzano where
Yes.
they grow the tomatoes?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
This is
Well, maybe I should just taste it.
a taste. Voila. Okay. We taste two. I taste two. Okay? Okay? Okay.
Those are so good. I have some pork ribs that I'm cooking here. I'm just browning them in the pan when I'm supposed to be making spaghetti and meatballs, right? Well, I'm gonna make the sauce, but I'm gonna start with pork because I love the flavor that it imparts. So I've just browned those. Takes probably about 10 minutes. Just keep turning them till they're golden brown on each side. And now add the onions. I'm cooking the onions until they're soft and translucent, which is about 5 to 7 minutes. These are very finely minced, so it won't take quite as long. I like to add a little bit of salt to the onions. It will draw out the moisture, and they'll cook a little bit faster. Now that the onions are soft and translucent, I'm adding the ribs back into the pan, along with a little bit of tomato paste. Just a couple tablespoons. And I'm also adding a sprig of oregano, just some fresh oregano. If you don't have fresh oregano, you could also use some dry, that would be fine. And I cook that for about a minute. All right, I've got some sprigs of basil. I'm just throwing the whole sprig right in because I can take them out after. Oh, those smell so good. And also some tomatoes. I'm using some canned tomatoes. Just choose excellent quality. San Marzano are wonderful because they're quite sweet. One thing about San Marzano, because I know you see them on the shelf and you think, well, those are expensive. They are the only tomato that is hand-picked. Really beautiful tomatoes. All right, now all you need is a little bit of salt and some patience. You're gonna turn this down, bring it up to a boil, turn it down, and just simmer that for about 2.5 hours. And if it gets very dry, you can add a little bit of water. Okay, so my mother used to make spaghetti and meatballs, and we had these kind of little coffee cups. And she was making the spaghetti and meatballs, and I would kind of wait around, and she would put one of the meatballs and some sauce into one of the cups. The cups were green, I still remember. And I'd take a spoon and I would sit there waiting for dinner, like really patiently. It was probably like watching Gilligan's Island or something, and I could not wait to eat that meatball and that sauce. It was the most delicious thing, and it was kind of like our little secret. But she made the best meatballs and the best tomato sauce. When I say that I like spaghetti and meatballs, it's really the meatballs that I love so much. Don't get me wrong, I love the sauce, but it's the meatballs I love. And I think the combination of both beef and pork really works well. But I do buy beef that has a little bit of fat in it. Don't buy the leanest. You want a little bit of fat. That's what's going to give you that juiciness in your meatball, and that's what you're looking for. We need something to flavor it, right? So I'm cooking up some onions, and this is just onions that have been sauteed until they're soft and translucent. Just yellow onions. And I'm adding a little bit of garlic. And as soon as I can smell the aroma of that wonderful garlic, I take it off the heat. I'm waiting. Oh, there it is. Oh, I love that smell so much. You don't want to cook it too much because you lose that kind of freshness that garlic has. Add that to your beef and pork. And now I'm taking 2 eggs and adding a little bit of milk. And then just whisk those together. You need a little bit more moisture. I'm getting that from the egg and also the milk. I also have some breadcrumbs. You can use fresh or dry. In this case, I have some dry breadcrumbs, and I'm taking the liquid, the eggs and the milk, and pouring that over the breadcrumbs. Stir that together, and you're gonna kind of have a mush, but that adds some nice bulk to this, but it gives you a nice texture. You want those breadcrumbs to be completely moistened. Excellent. And I'm going to start by just adding probably about 3/4 of this. You can always add a little bit more once you've done a tester, and I'll tell you what I mean in 1 minute. I'm also adding some oregano. Instead of just dumping it in, what I do is I put it in my hand, and then and you'll get so much more flavor from that oregano. And a little bit of parsley, just some minced parsley, and then a little bit of Parmigiano Reggiano. Now, of course, I need a little bit of salt. You've got a lot of meat there and a lot of bread, so I'm adding probably about 1.5 teaspoons and some black pepper. When my mother used to make meatballs, she really liked pepper in them, but not too much. And this is the time you use your hands. You can have fun in the kitchen. Use your hands. As long as they're clean, you're fine. You don't want to mix it too much, but you want everything incorporated. And now what you don't want to do is make all the meatballs, put them in the sauce, and then you taste them and you say, wait, they're missing something, salt. So you want to get there before. By making a patty, tasting it, does it need salt? Does it need pepper? Does it need a little bit more of the bread? Now, it's very important to let that cool just for a minute. It's too hot to taste. Okay. Really good. I think that's it. I like to make meatballs that are about the size of a walnut. So I would say probably like this. And don't pack them so much. If you do, they're gonna be like little solid nuggets. You wanna leave them a little touch loose. There's enough oil in them too that you don't even have to oil the pan. I have just a few left. There's something about rolling meatballs, I really like it. It's relaxing, you know, you just kind of a no-brainer. Now I put these in the oven, 400 degrees for about 10 minutes. Oh, those are done. I just feel that they're slightly firm to the touch. The sauce has now cooked for about 2.5 hours, so I want to take the ribs out. Oh, these ribs are so good. Don't throw them away. That is a really good snack, and whoever gets those is the lucky one. If a little meat falls off and it goes into the sauce, no problem. This sauce, it just smells so good. And now I'm adding the meatballs into the sauce. And I add all of the juice that's at the bottom of the pan because that's the love. That's gonna add a lot of flavor. I'll cook those for another 30 minutes. Well, now is the fun part, rolling pasta. But what I do is just to cut a piece, usually a pound is, you can cut it into 4 pieces, and I flatten this just a little bit. Open the pasta attachment to the widest opening. So in this case, it's number 1. Flatten your pasta a little bit and send it through. I fold it in half, send it through again. What I'm doing now is continuing the kneading process. Okay, I've got a pretty good shape here, and that's what I'm looking for, so I've sent it through on the widest opening about 3 or 4 times. Now I'm changing it to 3. You don't have to do every single number. I do every other number. And now I'm going to number 5. So only on number 1 did I fold it over again and again. I'm actually going to try number 4 and see how that is. So 1, 3, 4. I think this seems pretty good for spaghetti. What I'll do now is to put a little bit of flour and just place the pasta on the work surface. Now we get to cut the pasta. That is so fun. I've got a spaghetti cutter. Can turn that on. Beautiful. And with each batch that you cut, what you want to do is put it out on your work surface and then take a little bit of flour, and I'm using double O flour, and I just toss the pasta. Place this out on a baking sheet that's lined with a kitchen towel, and then continue on. And since this one is a little bit longer, I wanted to match the others. So I'm going to cut it in half and then toss that with some flour. Wow, look at this. Talk about dining al fresco. Look at this spread right in the middle of a tomato field. In Calabria, I was treated like family. You know what I love about Italian food? I love that there's such simplicity and you focus on the best ingredients.
Yes.
We've got to have a little bit of mozzarella. And you were telling me, what's this? Tell me about this.
This is the best one, is mozzarella of Battipaglia. It's the best one with the tomato. It's very,
Really?
very big marriage with mozzarella and tomato.
I'm getting really excited because you know I love food.
We have to taste, we have to taste.
Wow.
A slice.
Oh, that
Mozzarella
is
lacrima slice.
incredible.
Eh?
Look at the liquid. This looks so good.
Voila.
Okay.
Now we have to do caprese.
See.
We need only olive oil.
Yep, I've got it.
Or this seed, or this field, and salt.
Where's the olive
But
oil?
you are the chef, so you know
Yes.
very bad.
You didn't know I love olive oil, so I'm putting a lot.
Putting a lot, putting a lot.
Where's this from?
From these fields. We have
From-
also olive tree.
What, do you have everything?
Yes.
How about basilico?
Basilico.
That's simple, but delicious.
Simple and delicious. Okay,
Even the
we
basil
mix.
smells delicious. How about a few leaves? Wow. Okay.
Now we
4.
have to taste.
My mouth is watering. I can hardly wait. Fresh from the fields, it just doesn't get better than this. That is just, it's so juicy. It's the best mozzarella, incredible tomatoes, incredible basil, and the olive oil and salt.
Yeah.
It's so simple.
Just these.
You know what? I'm not done though. I'm sorry. I have to taste more.
Okay.
I would like to take the basil and the oregano out of the sauce. If you leave it, it's not a big deal. It smells just incredible. Now, you all know to put salt in the water for your pasta. 2 reasons. Flavor, of course, but it will come back to a boil more quickly. So I'm going to add a couple tablespoons. Hear it? It's boiling a little bit faster now. When it comes back to a boil, we're going to add our pasta. Pasta cooks so quickly. So just so you know, this is probably 1 to 2 minutes at the most. All right. Pasta goes in all at once. I'm just going to stir that to make sure it doesn't stick together at all. Okay, I would say this is probably done because it cooks so fast, being spaghetti. Let's see. For sure, perfect, al dente, to the tooth. I think that'll be enough for me. Do you know how happy this makes me? Just the smell of this, the memories of my family eating spaghetti and meatballs, beautiful tomatoes. Gotta have lots of sauce. It smells incredible. And now a nice big dollop of that ricotta. And what's great about this is you just swirl it in and it makes it so creamy and wonderful. And you can pass the rest at the table. And finally, just a little chiffonade of some nice, fresh, sweet basil. This might be a Saturday night or a Sunday night dinner because it takes a little bit longer, right? You have to make the sauce, you're making the meatballs, making the pasta. But I'll tell you what I do. I make it on the weekend and then I make a lot of extra. I put it into containers, I put it in the freezer, I take it out on a Tuesday night, I just defrost it, or I put it on the stove to defrost it, and then I just cook up some dry pasta, and it's perfect for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Wait, Monday too. This looks great. I'm just going to start with a small bowl. Believe me, I'm definitely going to take more. The pasta is great. Nice and al dente, just how I like it. And the meatball. That is sheer happiness for me. This is so amazing. I'm just so happy right now. This will make me even happier. It's so good. My mom would have gotten such a kick out of me going all the way to San Marzano to check out some of the most famous tomatoes in the world, and then trying to replicate her spaghetti and meatballs in my own kitchen. But you know what? I'm pretty close.
You can visit our website to find and print selected recipes, get information about each episode, learn more about Joanne and the show, see behind-the-scenes photos, provide email feedback.